Okay, I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Stephenville Planning and Zoning Commission for August. The first item on the agenda is to consider the approval of minutes for July 15th. Commissioners, do I have a motion?
Move we approve.
Okay, that motion was from Cliff, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, and do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second from Brian Leslie. The only thing I noticed that I thought might need to be fixed was at the very beginning of this, it says that we met in the city council chambers at City Hall. And I assume we need to correct that to say it was a Zoom meeting. Steve?
Yes, ma'am. We'll
Yeah, that's just your boilerplate language, but I just happened to notice it this time around. So that's the only thing that I noticed. Anybody else have anything? Okay, well, all those in favor of approving the minutes for July 15th with that change added, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that's
Lisa?
Yep.
This is Bruce DeLater. I have to abstain as I was not present for that meeting.
Okay, thank you, Bruce.
Madam Chair, we may want to go ahead and get a roll call just to make sure that we have everyone that's
okay.
Actually on the line.
Okay, we're going to roll call vote on that. Todd McAvoy.
Aye.
Cliff McCurry.
Aye.
Bruce DeLater.
Abstain.
Justin Allison.
Aye.
Brian Leslie.
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
Thank you for that.
Okay, that motion passes. Moving on to the minutes for July 27th. Commissioners, do I have a motion?
This is Bruce DeLater. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of July 27th.
Okay, that was Bruce made the motion. Who will second?
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a second from Brian Leslie. The only thing I noted was the exact same thing, was that the boilerplate language at the top needs to be changed. Anyone else? Okay, we'll go ahead and do a roll call vote on this approval of the minutes. Todd McAvoy, you weren't there, right?
Aye.
Aye.
I was
Cliff-
not there.
Okay, so I guess that's abstain. Cliff McCurry,
Aye.
Bruce DeLater,
Aye.
Justin Allison.
Abstain. I was not there.
Thank you, Brian Leslie.
Aye.
And myself is aye. So that's a quorum and that's enough to pass it. Okay, moving on to the first item on the public hearing agenda. That is case number RZ 2020-007. Applicant Jody Benham is requesting a rezone of property located at 1540 West Long, being Lot 2, Block 8 of the South Side addition to the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, from I Industrial to R3 multifamily. Steve.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. The applicant is on the line with us and is here to answer any questions the commission may have. As far as the staff report, our recommendation is that we would recommend approval of this as it does comply with the comprehensive plan for the future land use of multifamily. Applicant Jody Benham is requesting the change from industrial to multifamily. The property currently has 4 mobile homes and has indicated that he would like to remove those mobile homes and build a structure along the multifamily line. Again, the current zoning is industrial with future land use is multifamily. There is water and sewer along the street, and it is fronting Long Street and is west of Lillian.
Thank you.
In your packet is the description of a multifamily, the requirements for multifamily And then we also have an aerial map of the property along with the current and future zoning of the property, which should also include the water and sewer utility for both and with that, I would be glad to answer any questions.
If the applicant is here, would you like to add anything?
No, ma'am. That's exactly what I was wanting to do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open a public hearing then. If there is anybody here who wishes to speak in favor of this rezone. Is there anybody here? Is there anybody here who wishes to speak against this rezone? Okay, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Commissioners, if I can get a motion on this and a second, we can discuss.
I recommend we recommend to council to approve RZ 2-2020-007 to council.
Thank you.
With
That was
favorable
Todd,
review.
right?
Yes.
Okay, that was Todd making the motion. Do I have a second?
Yes,
I'll
I'll second.
Bruce DeLater seconds. Councilors, commissioners, sorry, do we need to discuss? Anybody have? Okay. Well, then let's go ahead and do a roll count vote. I'm going to go down the list I have here. Todd,
Aye.
Cliff,
Aye.
Bruce,
Aye.
Justin,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Vance,
Aye.
and is there anybody else here who's joined that I've missed? Okay, and I'm also an aye. So that motion to recommend to council approval of this rezone passes, and that goes forth to council, and they will make the final decision. Okay, thank you. Moving on. Okay, the next item, case number RZ 2020-008. Applicant Mauro Matai is requesting a rezone of property located at 811 North Miller, being Lot 9A, Block 2 of the Miller addition to the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, from B1 Neighborhood Business to I Industrial. Steve.
Yes, ma'am. This particular request does not comply with the comprehensive plan because the comprehensive plan designates this property future land use as single family. The applicant, Mr. Matai, is on the line, and he is requesting consideration for a change in zoning from B1 to industrial. This property is 0.32 acres, measuring 140 by approximately 100, so it would meet the minimum requirements for the dimensions of that particular lot. The applicant has expressed interest in building a gym, and at the direction of one of the commissioners, Mr. Matai and I spoke earlier today. Although he is requesting industrial, he is willing to consider B2 zoning for this particular property, as B2 will allow the same use as the industrial for his intended purpose. So Mr. Matai is again on the line and can confirm that with the commissioners. There is water and sewer available. The property fronts Miller Street and is south of Fry. And again, in your packet, you have an aerial map, current zoning, future zoning map, and then also maps indicating the existence of water and sewer availability. With that, I'd answer any questions from the commission.
Yes, Steve, this is Bruce. What's the difference between B1 and B2?
It allows for different uses in B2 than B1. I don't have those directly in front of me to specify each. However, the zoning uses for B1 are a little more limited and a little more restricted than those for B2. B2, however, offers the gym health center just as the industrial zoning would allow Mr. Matai to operate in. So I can certainly get you an all exhaustive list and show you the difference of that, but for the time purposes tonight on this call, I don't have that ability to do that for you at this moment.
All right. It seems to me like a gym would be a neighborhood business anyhow. So rather than an industrial, but that's just me thinking in common sense as opposed to reading the voted upon regulations.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate that question, and I will get that information out to you and the rest of the commissioners after this particular hearing.
Steve, if he wanted to change to B2, if that's kind of where the commission goes, does he have to come back to us again, or can that be done here?
I believe the commission can make a recommendation to approve the request with a modification to B2.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Matai, would you like to say anything?
No, pretty much. I just want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to come here and be in front of you guys, and I'll be able to answer as many questions as I can. Just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Mr. Matai? Okay, we'll go ahead and open a public hearing. Is anybody here who wishes to speak in favor of this rezone? Is there anybody here who wishes to speak against this rezone? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Commissioners, do we have a motion?
I will make a motion, I guess. I would recommend that I agree with recommendation of staff. I would recommend to council that they approve this zoning request as a B2 requirement, not industrial.
Thank you, Todd. Does anybody want to second that?
Is that what we need to do, Steve? Just out of curiosity. I mean, because it's weird because it was proposed to us as industrial. It's almost like we have to decline that. So I'm going to ask a parliamentary inquiry. Sorry, Lisa, parliamentary inquiry.
Yeah, I wonder that too.
Well, in the alternatives listed in your staff report, you can recommend a modification to the request.
Okay.
And so I believe it's fully within the jurisdiction of this commission to recommend something to the council other than what was requested by the applicant. And in this particular case, we have the applicant who has testified that he is comfortable with the B2 zoning. And so I think we should absolutely be within the parameters set forth by the city ordinance and state law to allow you to make that recommendation.
Okay, then I am perfectly happy with the motion then. And I think that once we get to the discussion, I'm happy with that motion then, Lisa.
I second that motion, Lisa.
Thank you. And that was Vance seconding. Commissioners, do we want to discuss this?
This is Bruce. I went over and examined the property and examined the neighborhood, and there's several industrial sites very, very close to this site. There's one across the street from it. This site is also only 1.5 blocks from the railroad. I would see no objection to the industrial zoning either way, the industrial or the B2. But with it being that close to the railroad, I should think the industrial zoning would be preferable to the B2 neighborhood business.
Well, it's actually already zoned. It's not currently zoned industrial. It's zoned.
I'm aware of that, and that's what we had a motion that it's to be approved for B2, but I'm saying that either the B2 or the industrial would be all right with me because it is. There are several industrial sites that are adjacent to this property, and it is also within a very short distance of the railroad, and the railroad is a big server of industrial concerns. So I would have no objection to the industrial zoning, even though that is not the motion that is present or that is up at this moment.
Thank you, Bruce. I guess I
Right.
would be inclined to go B2 myself, simply because looking at the current zoning, where it is B1 across the street, or right across from it is B2. So if we did this industrial, it would be a spot zoning, regardless of what's actually on site. You know, they may be industrial buildings, it's zoned B1 and B2. So at least if we did B2, it's still adjacent to B2. That's my thinking. Anyone else?
Yeah, and I made the motion based on the fact of if you look at the uses of B2 versus industrial, industrial does start to get into things like wrecking yards, machine shops, tire retreading services, things like that not sure in that part of the area that's where we want it. That continues, and I mean I know future land use is single family, but I definitely don't agree with that future land use, and we can look at that in another way. That's not for this call. So that's why I think the B2 continuation, like you said, Lisa, fits with me, and that's why I felt because there's also a doctor's office just around the corner from that. As that area develops, it's probably going to develop into a commercial type zones, which a health club would fit into and things like that. I don't think you want to see a tire retreading plant there. Is kind of my point.
I agree.
So that's why I went with B2.
Anyone else have anything they want to add to the discussion, or are we ready to vote?
Is this B2 going to conform to the comprehensive plan?
It will not conform to the future land use. Future land use calls for R1, for single family. But currently there's not a lot of single family there. There's some. So the question is, we've got somebody here who wants to use the property right now, wants to develop it. Which way do we want to go?
There's only 2 single-family homes in that vicinity on that block, or within 2 blocks of that, and one of them appears vacant. So.
You ready to vote?
Yep.
Okay. Todd,
Aye.
Cliff,
Aye.
Bruce,
Aye.
Justin,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Vance,
Aye.
and I'm a aye as well. So that, so we will recommend to council approval of this rezone to B2. And that's it. So Mr. Matai, your next stop is City Council, and they are the ones who will make the formal determination.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Look,
Okay. That's all we have on the agenda. So can I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
second.
Bruce and was that Brian?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
All
you
right,
again.
then.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Thank
See
you.
you next,
Bye-bye.
see you
Have a
next
good
time.
night.
Y'all.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.